everybody, welcome to week 14. Today we are going to make a zipper pull or purse charm. I'm going to use it as a purse charm, so I'm going to say purse charm. We're going to use coral, we're going to use a toggle clasp, and we're going to use burgundy in our design, and we're going to use at least 10 different components. So it's going to be a little fancier than many of my zipper pulls, but hey, you know, it's part of the challenge, right? So, just a reminder, let's see, you've still time to get your bunny kits. I can get them mailed out this week. And if you get your orders in, you can just comment on the post in our Bead Stash Challengers page or message Desert Cat Creations, and I will get those sent out to you. I will not be shipping next week, so all shipping has to or all orders need to be here by, really by tomorrow if you want to see it before Easter. But there will still be kits available after Easter if you want to order another one or order at a later date. So just a reminder of that. We will be on at our regular time on Sunday, and we are... but the design reveal will be on the road next week, so it will not be at our regular time. So I will have to make a post and let you guys know when that's going to be. But we'll find out Sunday what I'm going to be making and taking with me on my trips. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I don't really have any other announcements. Well, that's not true. So I am working hard to try to get all those things that I promised you guys for this year on their way to me before they get affected by tariffs and price raises. So keep your fingers crossed that this all works out right. So I will be busily attending to that today. I mean, I have some stuff in hand already, but I had not ordered everything because, you know, I didn't want to spend all my money at once. But anyways, we will be taking care of that. And like I said, we'll keep our fingers crossed that everything works out and we don't suffer from all the trade wars that are going on. But anyways, let's flip this over. If you're watching on the replay, let me know you're out there. Love to know who's watching. And again, I need to investigate why my camera has changed. I'm going to lower this a little bit, but it will complicate my ability to do things because I don't have much room left. So, but hopefully that helps a little bit. Didn't help that much, but anyways, we will get to work on this. So just a reminder, we're making a zipper puller or purse charm. We're using coral. Now that could be the color coral, it could be actual coral if you want it to be. So if you're thinking the color coral, I think of the reddish orange color when I think of the color. Whereas if you're actually using coral, it also comes in blue and kind of browns and stuff too. So if you're using real coral, obviously you can use whatever color it needs to be. But if I'm using the color coral, my brain goes to the kind of orangish red color. We're going to use a toggle clasp in our design, which makes things a little bit interesting, right? It's using a clasp in our purse charm in addition to the clip-on thing, right? And we're going to use burgundy. Now, burgundy is, it's not a huge color in my collection, so I'll show you what I came up with. And then we have to use at least 10 different components. So now the component can be everything. It can be the wire, it can be a head pin, it can be spacer bead, it can be a clasp. So all those things count as components. So let's look and see what my bunny bowl has for today's design. I'm going to set this aside. So I did pull out some wire because we're going to have to use some wire here. And I've got some head pins. So let's see what I've got here. All right, so I'm starting with a clip. Hey, Lorraine, thanks for joining me. So since I'm going to use a purse clip, I need a bigger clip. Now, if I was using a zipper, I could use just a small lobster clasp. But it all depends on what you want to clip that onto, right? So I'm going to start with that. And then for coral, I've got a couple things here. These are all check glass beads, and they have beautiful coral colored things. So I have these seahorses, and then I have these sun spirals, and just a couple of beads there. For burgundy, I decided to go with these little tiny crystals. I think these are probably check glass crystals as well. And I mean, it looks like a burgundy to me. It's a dark reddish, purplish color. So I'm going with the burgundy, right? Okay, then we had to use a toggle clasp. And I will tell you that I pulled out all these components, but I haven't really figured out my design completely. So I thought, since I have sort of an oceany theme here, I had this fun clasp that's a star, or yeah, toggle clasp. So here's the bar. So we've got that. And so then I have to come up with some more components. So I got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because, you know, they have to be different components, right? 6. Now I could count this as 7 because the bar could be separate. We'll see. I thought I might add, I had a seahorse to go along with that. So that, with this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have some head pins. That'll be 8. I have wire. That'll be 9. And then I also got out an assortment. There's like 4 different styles of spacer beads here. So I have to work with that. I have to use at least 10 of those components, right? And let's see how that works for us. So, you know, I like to have things dangling down. Now, I don't know that I want to, you know, dangle everything long. So I could certainly, you know, one thing I've done before is had multiple dangles, you know, just to keep it from being too long. Now I could certainly make it long, and I could use the clasp to make this so that I could take the bottom part on and off. I can also choose not to use the bar, which I may do. So if I, you know, if I had those hanging down, and then I could have a second dangle that has my star and my seahorse, then maybe, you know, a couple beads hanging off the bottom of each. I don't know. All right. So if I did that, that would be like 8. And then 9, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I still need one more component. So maybe I'll put some spacers around this guy, and I won't use this one. And like I said, I have to decide if I want to use the bar. I'm thinking I'm not going to use the bar. I'm just going to save that off to the side. And we are going to do a little wire wrapping here today. All right. So, kind of like earrings, I kind of like to work from the bottom up on these things. So, I have some head pins here. These ones have a flat bottom on it as opposed to the ball, but they were longer ones. So, actually, I wonder if my short ones would work. You know, you could decide whether you want to use short or long head pins. Oh, I do have ball ones. Maybe I'll use those. Sorry. I don't like to have to cut off the extras, so I tend to go with the shorter ones. But let me see, since these are, I'm using the beads a little different. Let's see if these will fit on here and still have room. So, you know, you want to use the smallest one that you still have room to make your loop. Or, you know, maybe you have enough room to, you know, that you can cut enough off that it's usable for something. So, you know, for a loop, small loop, about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So that one, that should work. So I am going to use these shorter ones. And let's see how this goes. So I want it very close to the top because I don't have a whole lot. So I'm going to bend it over and then make my loop. How's it going today, Lorraine? Is it sunny over on your side of the country, or are you guys, I don't think anybody's getting a lot of rain, are they? We're having our first 100-degree day of the season here, so it's bright and sunny and toasty here. All right, so we make our little loop here. We didn't make a fancy loop, but that's okay. So I'm gonna make one, I think I'll go up one side and then do the other one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use some 22 gauge wire here, and I am going to use my seahorse. This is actually bead. The hole goes straight through it. So so let's make a loop at the top. We can go ahead and make a closed loop. So since we still have another loop to make, we don't have to connect it to anything. So we did our 90 degrees, then we did the loop around the round nose pliers. Now we're just wrapping around here. Make sure you go at least 1.5 times around because you want it to be closed and not dangling. I'm going to go ahead and clip off the end of that because it's a little longer than I want. And I'm going to tuck it in. Probably cloudy with rain. 100 degrees. Well, you know, you just stay inside or you go out early. We went out early to drop my husband's car at the automotive place, and it was very nice out this morning. So you just have to get up early and do things, and then, you know, I think that's why they created siestas, right? You know, it's for when it's really hot out. I woke up early, so I don't know. I might have to take a siesta, except that I do have stuff I have to get done today. So, all right. Now, you know, don't forget to hook your, you know, don't close your loop too soon, because you need to be able to hook it on here. If you do forget, you know, you could always use jump rings to connect your loops, or you can cut one off or change, you know, rewire it. I try to do whatever requires the least waste of materials. I don't know. I'm just, you know, I don't like to waste things. None of that stuff's cheap, so. And then I'm gonna just tuck this in. See if I can get that straight. This is pretty soft 22 gauge wire, so I need to straighten that out a little, and then do some more tucking now that it's straight. I am not having some good looking loops here today. You like this? Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, my cat takes multiple siestas throughout the day, right? So, all right, there's 2 of our pieces there. So now let's do our top bead. Now this time I have to, you know, I'm gonna have to connect it onto that loop and onto here. So I can't pre-close any of my loops without hooking them into the other ends of things. Okay, so I could do either one. This bead goes either way, so it doesn't really matter, although I think I'll do it this way. All right, so we're going to do our loop 90 degrees. Loop it around the round nose pliers. You don't need a big loop. And then we'll hook it on to the bottom here. It doesn't really matter which side you do first, whether you hook it to the clip or to these other beads, but I'm hooking it to the beads first. Since this is a short wire, I'm going to use my pliers to coax it around. Now, if your wire gets separated, you can just, you know, use some pliers to squeeze it together. Sometimes it's easier to get this tight once the other, you know, once you snuggle your beads up to it, and you can kind of make sure that end gets tucked in. All right. So we're gonna do a slightly larger loop here, just because I want it to move around a little on the clip. Sorry if I'm going off the screen. So cut a tail on there, and then I'm going to connect it onto here. So not last year, but the year before, for Christmas, I made everybody in the family, I think I think they all got clips. A couple of them got keychains, but I put their names on it, and then I bought charms for like all their hobbies and interests. And because it would have been really long, I did make several, you know, I attached multiple things to the clip here, so they seem to like them. It was kind of fun to personalize things for people. Of course, now I have like tons of charms for what everybody's interested in, but so if anybody ever needs any charms, let me know. I might have extras. Since it was people of multiple ages. All right, get that wrapped around there, tucked in. All right, so, you know, on a normal day, if we didn't have to use 10 components and some of these others, we would have ourselves a clip here. But we are going to add a second row so we can use our toggle clasp. Now, one thing about toggle clasp is you can use, you know, you can use them for the top or the toggle part of the clasp. I guess this is the clasp part as opposed to the toggle bar. You know, a lot of times there's uses for using a clasp, because like this one would be really pretty, like for earrings or something. Anyways, like I said, I could use the bar and make something that was removable, but which I've done that with earrings before, but today we're not gonna do that. So let me move that out of the way, get one of my short ones out. And we're gonna make the bottom very similar, but I'm gonna use a different spacer, because, you know, we need some variety here to get our 10 components. And that, again, since I don't want I don't have a lot of space, I am just bending directly at the top of that bead, and then I'm going to put my pliers there and wrap it around. And we're going to use our, since this end is kind of short, I'm going to pull it around using my pliers. Like I said, I don't know why, but I prefer to use like these skinny flat noses to tuck in my wires. I find it works a little better than my chain nose sometimes, but you can certainly do it with chain nose. So there's our bottom dangle. As far as these beads, yeah, they have a lot more design on the sides than the outside. That's actually what you're going to see most of the time. And I just messed that up because I should have connected that to my clasp. So this clasp, it has a loop down here, but the nice thing is it's open, so I can connect something there as well. So, you know, it makes me wonder if I want to go ahead and use this. But if I use this, I'm going to need quite a bit of wire to hang it. So no, I don't want to do that. But I could use a jump ring. So let's do that. Use a decently strong jump ring here. So if I'm using small jump rings, I like to use stainless steel just because they hold up better. They don't bend as easily as if you're using ones that are made out of copper or silver. And I wouldn't use sterling silver ones with this anyways because I'm using everything else is base metal, so it's a waste of good silver, right? All right, so we are going to, again, I put the opening for the jump ring at the top, do a little twist sideways. That's what jump ring, for making up for forgetting to hook your loops in. I think you might be right. So the question is, should I use this to connect there? Maybe I will. I will connect it to the bottom, and then remember we twist it back in place lightly. I like to go back and forth a couple times to make sure I get it lined up, and push them together so you don't want any gaps in there, because that ends up being a weak point in your design. All right, so here we go. That works. All right, now this time I need to make sure I don't forget. And this bead does have a direction that it needs to go in, so we're going to put it on the bottom, to the bottom part first. So we're going to connect it to the toggle. Help if I could talk, right? So go ahead and hook it through this loop. And then yeah, I guess I've been a little out of it lately, haven't I? As far as, you know, I forgot to connect things, but you know what, that happens. Last week I was having troubles with my wire wrapping, but it looked pretty good when it was in my hair. So I thought that came out okay. So. All right, so now we just need to do a wrap at the top, and remember to connect it to our thing, or clip. All right, now I left myself a little more of a neck there, so I do have to leave myself more wire to wrap around it. Yeah, like I said, it looks great from a distance. Up close, it's a little rough, but, you know, it's all good. Right. Forgot what are you making a napkin ring this week? Or, I forgot what your drawing was, but. All right, this is always the challenge, is to hold these loops so that they hold still when you're wrapping, but you know, you can do it. And I am going to tighten this wire a little bit with by pulling on it. Sure. Wrap that around just a little further, because I like my wraps good and tight there. You can make napkin rings for Easter. All right, tucking that in. There we go. All right, there's our second half. So like I said, either one of those, you made a couple and just, but okay, I haven't seen it yet, but we'll see it after we're off here. So anyways, there we go. There's our purse charm. Move the tools out of here. So. All right, so we've got our zipper purse charm, and to me, it's the clip is what makes it that, right? And we used coral, so we've got 3 different kinds of coral beads on here. Let me lay that on my hand. Maybe it'll be easier to see. We had to use burgundy, so I've got these 2 little burgundy beads down here. Or close enough to a burgundy. We had to use a toggle clasp. So we've got our clasp here. And remember, you know, just because it said to use a clasp didn't say you had to use both sides of it. So we use that. Hey, Marianica. You ended up with an ocean. Okay. And then we had to use at least 10 different components. So let's count them again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on just that side because the wire and the wire and the head pin. So on this side, then we have another one. So that makes 9, 10, 11, 12. So we ended up with 12 unique components in our design. So that'll be a nice kind of summary. I actually have a coral colored purse, so I think this might have to be dangling from my coral colored purse. So there we go. You know, again, you can use. I'm glad I put back the magnetic clasp or whatever, the snap clasp. I could have used the snap clasp in my design too, but you know, I think using one clasp, and really there's 2 because the clip can count as a clasp, qualifies us as meeting our design requirements. So, alrighty, there we go. Let's go ahead and flip this. And I have to raise it back up a little. Oop, sorry about that. Now you're looking at my ceiling. So, I'm going to have to play with the camera some more. I don't know why, like I said, it seems so far away when I flip it over, but I'm sure that's by design for the manufacturers of the camera, but oh well. All right, thanks again for joining me. We will be back on Sunday at noon Pacific Daylight Time or Mountain Standard Time, since we don't, you know, our usual time. So this weekend is the Great Bead Extravaganza. So I will double check the schedule. Usually I'm able to like just go in and do a short thing that's between 2 of the presentations. So I will double check the schedule and I will post what time I'm going to do it. And I'm going to keep it really short because, like I said, you guys are going to get a whole weekend full of beady goodness. I hope to be able to watch some of it, although I've got kind of a busy weekend planned, so hopefully I will get to watch and participate some, and not have to watch everything on replay, because that happens to me a lot of times. They manage to pick weekends when I'm traveling or something, so but I'm hoping to catch some of those presentations live this weekend. So I will double check though, like I said, make sure I'm not, I'll jump on between presentations and keep it really short. Maybe we'll just do the drawing and we won't even do a project, just because you guys are getting lots of projects this weekend anyways. So, and then like I said, I will be traveling next Thursday, so I know I will not be doing it at the regular time because I have a reservation for a wine tasting at 1 o'clock. So can't be doing a video at 12. So I may either do it early or I may do it on Wednesday or Friday. And I'm still trying to work out. I'm going to try to make an appointment to go by Softflex headquarters and see their, they apparently have a wall with their history. You can make an appointment. You can't go in and just shop, so that will not be an option. So anyways, but I'll let you guys know. I will keep in touch, and I will hopefully on Sunday I'll have an answer, or at least an estimate on when I'm going to do it. So as usual, if you enjoyed this, please like the video. If you haven't already, like and follow Desert Cat Creations on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are trying to build our YouTube channels, especially now that we cannot save videos on Facebook. So the saved videos are going to be over on YouTube. I am not transferring most of these live videos over. And if there's something that I really want to save, what I'm doing is, like I said before, is a lot of them I'm going to re-record the project and take out all the extra announcements and stuff, just so that people who just want to learn how to do the project don't have to put up with all the chit chat and announcements. Okay, so anyways, that's where I'm at right now. If I learned to edit videos, I guess I could do that too. But anyways, have a great rest of the weekend. I will see many of you over on the Great Bead Extravaganza, I'm sure. And like I said, I'll let you know what's going on next week. And so I'll send you some love. If I figure out how to make the balloons. I don't know. I got those balloons to work that one day, but now they don't seem to like to work. Anyways, sending you some hearts. Thanks again. Appreciate the business, and I will I appreciate you guys following me and making it so I don't have to talk to myself all the time. So, all right, we'll catch you this weekend, and have a great weekend, and don't forget to take time to be creative. See you soon. Bye.